Calling Dr. Puranik.
Yeah, Puranik and Damisha.
He's joining.
Mm.
Both are joining in 2 minutes.
Perfect. Can we start now? It's already 5 minutes delay.
Yeah. He's calling Tarun also.
Panelists should have joined now. Yeah, Puranik join.
Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Sodi. Hello, Parande, sir.
Kaji, namaskar to everyone.
think it's 5:10. We can start. Afnita, can you put the program flyer, please? Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Interpretation of Neurorehabilitation, I'd like to welcome you all on brain health and prevention concept on this World Brain Day under the aegis of IFNR, then in collaboration with IFNR, WFNR, and WRA. This program will have one speaker, Dr. Surya, who will speak about 5 minutes on brain health. Then we have panel discussion, which is moderated by Dr. Surya. We have 5 panelists. In the end, we'll also announce the prize for the winners of the poster competition. We'll take any time. I would invite Dr. Nirmal Surya.
Hello.
Don't need any introduction. He is currently the president of IFNR, president of AFNR, as well as Secretary General of the World Federation of Neuro Rehab. He's an eminent neurologist with keen interest in neuro rehab. He's the chairman of the Neuro Rehab Center, chairman of the Neuro Center in Mumbai, and currently the Secretary General of the World Federation of Neuro Rehab. Dr. Surya, please.
Thank you, Abhishek. Ashmita, Dr. Dhamisa is in the attendees, so can you kindly move him into the panelist panel, please?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, friends. It is a great day to welcome you all on the World Brain Day, which is an initiation by WHO being celebrated all across the world by various organizations, and also something to do with about creating about the brain health. And this year theme is protecting our future. So I would in brief tell you about the World Brain Days for those who have not are aware about this. So I'll just share my desktop. Share. And there you are. Asmita, can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Has to
Sir,
go.
put it on slideshow mode. It's in editing.
Just trying to do that. Is
Yes,
that right?
perfect. Yes,
Perfect. So there we are, and I'm just going to quickly tell you about the core campaign message, what we have been doing it for the World Brain Day today. So World Brain Day 2024 is dedicated to the brain health and prevention. So this year we are concentrating on prevention. WFN proudly leads the initiation in collaborating among all 6 WFN regions to advocate for the paramount importance of brain health and preventive measures. And we have been doing the awareness on World Brain Day for last 4-5 years. WFN privileged to have the representation of WHO Brain Health Unit as guest of honor for World Brain Day as the highlight the implementation of intersectorial global action plan. So you all know that WHO has launched the IGAP on epilepsy and other neurological disorder, which is a very, very important project by WHO, and we all are committed to that. It is operational definition by WHO, encompasses disease prevention and health promotion, which involves specific intervention on both population and individual level, and addressing primary and secondary prevention to mitigate the impact of disease and associate risk factor. Brain and then prevention. So we are talking about protecting our future. Why prevention? Because you all know that neurological disorder like stroke, Alzheimer's, and epilepsy significantly contribute to disability adjusted life year, but a large number of cases are preventable. And you could see that 90% of stroke, if properly treated, can be prevented. That's the reason we have Hardeep Sodhi here, who is an activist working with the stroke support group, and has been working for the cause of the people with a stroke. 40% of dementia cases and 25% of epilepsy can easily be prevented. Around the world, there are on average only 3.1 neurologists per 100,000 population, and low-income countries have a much smaller share. So LMIC have no neurologists or number as low as 0.1 to per 100,000 population compared to 7.1 in the high-income country. So why prevention? Again, it is 3.40 billion individual had nervous system health loss and 11.1 million individual died from a nervous system condition. 84.2% of stroke dailies were potentially preventable throughout the reduction of exposure to 18 identified risk factor. And you all know that stroke incidence in West is now coming down largely because of their effort on prevention. Controlling lead exposure could reduce the burden of idiopathic intellectual disability by 63 point, lead exposure 63.1%, and reducing high fasting blood sugar to typical concentration could reduce the burden of Alzheimer's and other dementia by 14.6%. Smoking emerged as a risk factor for stroke, Alzheimer's disease, MS, and certain established risk outcome associated such as hearing loss and Alzheimer's disease or exposure to pesticides and Parkinson's disease were not included in this analysis. So additionally, psychosocial factors like sleep, stress, social isolation increasingly acknowledged as contributing to the neurological condition. So what are the key messages are? Neurological disorders are preventable through early detection and effective management. Global education on prevention for brain health is imperative. Socioeconomic status or geographic location should not be barrier to prevention. Healthcare professional, researcher, and policymaker play a pivotal roles in addressing the global neurological need, and recognizing brain health as fundamental human right is at core of our mission. So there we are with the whole team here, and I'll come back to you afterwards with World Brain Day for those who have participated into the competition. So with that note, I think I come back to the panelists, and if Asmita, if you have the slides to introduce our panelists are. So we have Dr. Urvashi Shah, who is a clinical consultant neuropsychologist at KEM Hospital and SRCC Hospital. She's got many research papers, chapters, and oration at national and international level. She has been working tremendously and was one of the force to have neuropsychologists being recognized in this country. She has given several orations, and she's been extremely important panelist. Next, please. Dr. Taral Nagda is a pediatric orthopedic surgeon who is at SRCC General Hospital and Jupiter Hospital. He's director of CP Clinic. Has done a lot of work in the cerebral palsy and gait disorder in the children particularly. And he has a lot of achievements like webmaster, pediatric orthopedic society, convener of pediatric subsection of IOA, and he's been trustee at FICS Foundation. So welcome, Dr. Tarun Nagda. Next. Dr. Apurva Puranik is ex-professor MGM Medical College, Indore. He's a director, Puranik Academy of Medical Education, Indore, and has been Dean Academic Teaching and Research of Mrs. Jupiter Hospital, Indore. He's a par excellent clinician and has been advocating about the aphasia and speech disorder and cognition, and involved in various capacity at various places. Has been a co-convener with Aphasia SIC at WFNR with me. Welcome, Dr. Apurva Puranik. And lastly, most important person, Professor R.K. Damija, who is a professor of neurology and is a director at IBAS, which is one of the government institute at New Delhi. He has been involved in various projects, and recently he has been given an important role of chair of Brain Task Force by the government of India, which is a very, very important job. He has received many awards, and which include Dr. S. Radhakrishnan National Medical Teacher Award, National Award for the Science and Technology, as well as BC Bansal. So welcome, Dr. Dhameja. Hardeep Sodhi is founder of Stroke Support Group, which has mission of raising the awareness and support stroke survivor and their family. Welcome, Hardeep Sodhi. So I start from the director, Ibas. And the question for him is, what are the key components of maintaining a good health, Dr. Dhameja?
Thank you, Dr. Nirmal Surya, for having me in this very important webinar. And I'm honored and privileged to be part of the panel comprising so many of stalwarts who have been working in the area of brain health for so many years. And so basically, brain health is a broader terms, and there are definitions from WHO, definition from many other neurological associations and neurological groups. So what we are discussing today is mainly preventive, promotive, restorative brain health. And as you mentioned very emphatically, that brain health and the brain disorders can be prevented. Example, strokes. Strokes are something which is treatable, not only treatable, but preventable also. And of course, the stroke survivors needs the rehabilitation in a big way. Coming to the numbers, as you mentioned, the stroke incidence and prevalence has been increasing in India and in LMICs. But I just wanted to mention one very important fact which has come into light in last few years, that stroke prevalence and incidence has decreased in the Western world. In last 20 years, stroke has gone down in terms of numbers, but in India, it has doubled in last 10 years. So you can very well imagine the number of stroke survivors, which we are having now in India. Every year, 6 to 10 lakhs stroke survivors are accumulated in the country, and they need to be integrated back to the community by active rehabilitation. So all this can be prevented by maintaining a very good brain and vascular health. And that can be achieved by simple 6 or 7 formulas. One is, of course, the ABC of Professor Vladimir Hachinsky from Ontario, Canada. He clearly says that ABC, A for activity, that means the physical activity, whether it is 10,000 steps every day or maintaining a very good physical, not only weight, but also physical activity in terms of having connectivity and social and cognitive fitness. So that is one thing, is activity. Second is the BP, that means blood pressure control, as well as balanced diet. So blood pressure is known to be one of the major risk factors for stroke and many other degenerative and vascular neurological disorders. So if we keep the blood pressure in check and having a continuous monitoring and that good management of blood pressure can reduce number of strokes. That is very well established fact in the literature and in all the public health control, stroke control and hypertension control program. So management of hypertension is very important, and along with that, balanced diet. So B is for balanced diet, means that every individual should have moderation, and that means a lot of fruits and vegetables, minimum 5 to 6 servings of salads, and cut down the salt and sugar. So if you cut down the salt, the incidence of strokes comes down more than 30 to 40%. So salt reduction, sugar reduction, and more fruits and vegetables in your diet. That is something very important for a preventive brain health. Third is adequate sleep. So 6 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. It's not only quantity, but it's refreshing quality sleep. Sleep means sleep hygiene also important. For example, no screen, no TV, no distractions in the bedroom, no food, no eating, only maybe reading or something like that can be there. And that sleep hygiene, regular sleep times from say 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 hour good sleep and regular. So that is very important. And fourth is, of course, your cognitive fitness. This is again very important in terms of having a social connectivity and connecting to your peers, connecting to your children, grandchildren, having a good friendship circle, a social circle, learning a new language, reading new books. So obviously that makes your brain also connectivity, brain neurons connectivity very healthy, and that is something very, very important. So if
I
you
think you have highlighted all the things, and we'll come back to one by one to the each panelist
exactly,
on each
this is a
issue.
broader concept.
Yeah, so you have opened all the points. So I would take individual points on this to the individual panelists, and I'll come back to you with some more question at uh, end of first round, because we need to have 2 rounds. So pardon me, I would go one by one. Uh, so I have a question for Apurva. This is related to diet and nutrition. So, what role does diet play? Dr. Dharmija has already mentioned to you in brain health what food should be included or avoided, and what are the nutrients which are quite important in that. So, Apurva, if you could highlight on those, though Dharmija sir has already been highlighted the need of a proper diet.
So diet or nutrition is intricately related to brain health. Number one is the undernutrition. We in India, particularly with lower income groups, protein calorie malnutrition, kwashiorkor can lead to stunting of growth and can lead to suboptimal development of cognitive and intellectual functions. So that is at a societal level, not at an individual level. So we have to talk of prevention both at individual level and societal level. For societal level, undernutrition, which includes all aspects of diet, and then undernutrition can be one ingredient at a time. For example, iodine deficiency can lead to hypothyroidism and with a very deleterious effect on the cognitive development in the nervous system. So undernutrition on one hand and overnutrition in the form of overweight and obesity coupled with lack of physical activity is also contributing to ill health. Lack of activity is also contributing to increased incidence and prevalence of stroke. And then good amount of physical activity, particularly aerobic physical. So I'm diverting from diet. I think I should stop it, as you said about the diet. But for activity, I just wanted to say that even in Parkinson and Alzheimer, good amount
We
of
will
aerobic
have separate question for the physical
for
activity.
exercise area.
So I think
So
you
that was all about I wanted to say about the diet at individual level and at community level.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I think diet is important. Both Dr. Dharmija has mentioned and you also mentioned. I go to the Taral, exercise and physical activity. So how does physical exercise contribute to brain health? You have overcome a lot of disability yourself by the exercise and how you manage your cognitive function through the exercise. You know, we are live also on YouTube on various platforms. So there may be many people who are layperson or society members. So we would like you to highlight on that.
Absolutely. In yoga, we talk about, so can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, Taral,
Hello?
go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So in yoga, sir, we talk about body, mind, and spirit. But actually, what I feel is it's body and brain. So body-brain barrier, there is no barrier. Whatever we do with body reflects on the brain. Whatever we do with brain reflects on the body. In my case, it was a fracture and a physical disability. But to overcome that, you require a lot of working on the brain to overcome a physical disability. Similarly, brain also affects the body postures, and body working also affects the brain. So there are many types of activities which we do, and they will affect brain in a different manner. So when we walk or when we run, it releases neurotransmitters, and it has a positive effect on working on the brain, working of the brain. So when people run or when Dr. Surya goes for a morning walk, I can see a smile on his face. And the reason is because of the neurotransmitters being released. So body has a definite work on the brain. So I do yoga, and there are forward bending postures and a backward bending. So when
your voice is getting cut, Dr. Taral. So we'll come back to you. I move on to Urvashi Shah on mental health and cognitive activities. So Dr. Urvashi, how does mental health and stress management affect the brain health, and what are the cognitive activity can help in preventing the cognitive decline for a normal person with, a normal health or want to prevent it?
Today, I think stress has become such a common word. I often joke about it that the only English word that my Marathi speaking maid knows is tension. She always says, tension nako gya, like don't take tension, because it's such a word that's become pervasive across society. And there are multiple reasons. I feel personally, this is a personal take on the matter, is of course with the technology, I think this overstimulation of the brain, that we are constantly having to attend to things in a multiple way. Like I'm sure Dr. Nirmal Surya is doing multiple Zooms through the day and has to multitask at a very high level. So we are all multitasking. There's increased screen time. We've become overly conscious about putting an image out there. So our social media presence, all that, without realizing we are putting a lot of pressure on our brain. And I don't know whether really the brain is truly equipped. We have billions and billions of neurons, but whether the networks have developed to the extent that we really can cope with the stress. So stress has become a big thing which is affecting the brain. How do we see it? You will all experience it, that now we call it more of adult ADD, the complaints are coming. So everyone, you'll see people on the screen, they're able to watch reels maximum 30 seconds, 1 minute. The minute something goes longer, as Dr. Nirmal will also interrupt me and say, enough, now people will not pay attention to what you're saying. The attention spans have gone down. So now attention has gone for a toss, and attention forms the basis of cognition. If we are not able to attend well, we are not processing information well, cognitively we are in trouble. So I think this understanding of what currently stress has done to our brain, now I don't know whether the next questions will talk about it, but yes, I'd like to talk about cognitive reserve, resilience, which we should build so that we protect ourselves from that. But I don't know, sir, whether you'd like to ask me that next or I should go into it. But right now,
I will
stress.
come back. I will
Yes.
come back to you. So
Sure.
first round, the Hardeep is there. Hardeep, Hardeep asked me, what am I going to do on the brain health? I says, you have been dealing with people whose brain has been affected, and it is more like a personalized brain health, because after the stroke, particularly, you have to personalize their health for the future. So tell me, how can individual tailor after a stroke coping up? Stroke happen, 90% recover or 80% recover. How do they make themselves fit enough to remain into the game and not allow something else to come back again? As you know, 40-50% patient may get a second stroke in the future if they don't control their blood pressure, diabetes. So how do you personalize the brain health, particularly for people who are affected with the stroke? What are your suggestions to them?
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Nirmal, for the opportunity to address such a panel and via you, the audience. Well, of course, brain health is an issue which concerns all of us. And unfortunately, it's very much neglected, because just like the heart, the brain just works silently somewhere in the background until something goes drastically wrong. And we at Stroke Support India, the two prongs that we have is on awareness, which obviously is the first step. And perhaps I will be given the opportunity to talk about it a little bit later. Because if there is no awareness, the rest of the things just go for a toss. And in our group, we have many examples where awareness, including, I may say, amongst the medical fraternity, led to situations which could have been avoided, But however, to come back, and I do hope I'll be given the opportunity to address the awareness issue a little bit. To come back to the specific question that you asked, as you know, Dr. Nirmal, each stroke is an individual, it's just not like any other. But I think what we have seen at Stroke Support India, that the underlying parameter is efforts. The more efforts one does post-stroke, more are the possibilities and the improvements of recoveries. Many times much beyond what even the doctors say. They go into years. We have a stroke affected who has been silent for about 3 years, and now he has just started typing with his fingers. So the underlying thread in all the improvement that we see, whether it is 40%, whether it is 60%, whether there is stem cell stroke, and there's nothing in the initially, is the determination, the motivation, and the effort, which is obviously a combined effort, not only of the stroke affected, but of the family. Because a stroke affected obviously is highly dependent on the environment. So in summary, to address what you raised, Dr. Nimal, it's a very, very often discussed question, even in our groups. How long will it last? When will I recover? And unfortunately, there are no clear-cut answers except try. And we have people who have gone to the mountains, to Everest. We have people who have become marathon runners. We have people who have become a bodybuilder post-stroke. So that is the purpose of Stroke Support India. All I can say to you and to the audience who is listening in and who might be facing similar situations, keep your morale high, keep on trying, keep on striving. And the more you strive, the more will be the improvements.
I think 2 points which came out from your suggestion is, one is keep on trying and put on effort, and two is family. I think that's a very important point, and I'm sure later on Urvashi will like to address that. But I come back to the round two and the leader in the public health and policy. Who else than Dr. Damija, who is right at the government top job and advising the government of India. So I would want to know what are the public health measures can be implemented to improve the community brain health, Dr. Damuja, and how the government has been proposing that this is the way we can really take it forward.
Well, I think the public health approach is very important. Number one, if first and foremost example is today's webinar to create public awareness so that people become aware of importance of brain health, and that leads to brain economy and brain capacity. So brain capital also is a new term which is coming up with, if you have healthy brain, healthy economy, and the economic development of the nation takes place with the people having good brain health and less brain disorders. So obviously, it has a larger impact on the nation as well in the society as such. So from the government perspective, the National Task Force on Brain Health recently been constituted, and we are working to come up with a policy document so that national program on brain health can start. So we have the national program for leprosy, for malaria, for tuberculosis, and there is a NCD program, NCDP, which includes the cancer, diabetes, stroke, but it does not include the epilepsy, which is about 1 crore people in India having epilepsy, active epilepsy. So obviously there are so many issues, driving with epilepsy or women with epilepsy, marriage, all these things, social stigma with epilepsy and other neurological disorders. So obviously we need to have that national program in place where we can have a broader coverage, including dementia, including Parkinson, including stroke, including epilepsy and other neurological disorders. So that is something which is coming up. And there is another program which is running right now in Karnataka, which is Karnataka Brain Health Initiative, KABI. And they started with this 3 districts pilot project in Karnataka 2 years ago, a very successful program. And now they have rolled out in all the 33 districts in Karnataka. So district level brain health clinics have been instituted. So every district has a brain health clinic in the district hospital where a physician is there and a screening for the brain disorders is carried out. And if there is a high risk or a red flag, then the patient is either managed there, if can be managed in district hospital, or referred to the tertiary care centers like NIMHANS or IVAS or AIMS or things like that. So that is the broader 2 aspects of the policy from the national perspective. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I think it's a great news that national policy for brain health is been formulated, and I think that will be a great relief for the large population of India who's been suffering.
And it will focus on rehabilitation, neuro-rehabilitation.
Fantastic. That will be great. Apurva, the age is something which is always linked with the brain health, that you grow age and your brain health get affected. So how the brain health changes as the age grows? And you have seen a lot of people who just retired from their job. they were so active at the highest level and suddenly they become cognitively down. So would you like to highlight on how one need to be really maintained?
Of course, age has a bearing on health overall, including brain health. But I think with the economic development and increasing education, people are not only having increased expectancy of life, they are remaining active till 7th decade, 8th decade, 9th decade of the life. So the mantra for good health in old age is not to feel old psychologically, to continue to feel young at heart. Of course, one should age gracefully and one should accept the limitations of aging. So it is not inevitable that everybody will develop cognitive impairment or will develop stroke in old age. So many of the ill effects of aging are preventable to a great extent by so many measures which our other panelists are discussing, including the nutrition and exercise and diet and prevention from toxins and genetic factors and awareness and education and timely therapies. So if timely therapies are available and adequate dose are available, many of the neurological disorders associated with gerontology are preventable.
Thank you so very much. And I think it is very important, though everything is linked. So Urvashi also would later on want to highlight on that. But before that, I come to Taral. You know, last time I think we lost you. Taral, the technology is something which is both positive and negative on brain health. You got
Yes.
mobile, you got computer, you got TV. So how the technology and what are the positive aspect, negative aspect, and how does it affect the brain health today?
So I deal with children, sir. So in terms of pediatric population, I can say something. So a
Yeah.
lot of research has been done on effect of gadgets on children on one hand. And we know that excessive use of gadgets can potentiate cognitive disorders such as autism. It can reduce concentration. Urvashi would agree with me that it makes child more irritable and the social adjustments become less. We are seeing some more and more boys who are onto PUBG and they get into a completely non-realistic world. Their brain gets into a completely into a world of which doesn't exist. Social media also play a very important role in this hallucinatory world, and that's something we have to be cautious about. So on the other hand, we see that most of the new technologies which are coming in neuro rehab, it's all about technology. So Abhishek uses so much of uh, 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 feedback techniques, robotic techniques, and these are techniques. They are also available because of the same technology, which is detrimental to the brain. I think the whole idea is how do we use the technology? Do we use it to our advantage or do we use it to a disadvantage? So today's webinar has been possible because of technology, and if it was not there, the World Brain Day webinar would not happen. So it is necessary, but I think in moderation and in the right doses.
Urvashi, would you want to add on to this something and also say that how do we enhance our cognitive brain health? Do this technology really help in enhancing? But
So just from what Dr. Taral was saying, we always have this conversation that is technology a bane or a boon. And I think that conversation we can continue to have. As he said rightly, it is to be able to learn how to use it in the correct manner. That is the message for parents, for families, for all of us. That's why today we talk about doing a detox from technology. Many people go off social media temporarily just to get that detox. They call it detoxification. So it's becoming an addiction. So how you manage it is most important. I would like to quickly talk about two things which I thought were important when we talk about brain health and prevention, which are concepts which are coming up in research now. And that is, one is cognitive reserve and the second is resilience. So the first, cognitive reserve, even Harvard Medical School is publishing a lot about this. What is cognitive reserve? It's how agile is your brain in pulling out skills and capacities to solve problems. Now, to build up this cognitive reserve, as Dr. Dhamija was talking about the term brain capital, it's become very important now that prevention, like even before you have an injury or something goes wrong in your life, if you have higher cognitive reserve, that's going to kick in and help you. So we must work towards that. Now, very quickly, in fact, Harvard has put 7 pillars of cognitive reserve. I'm not going to go into the 6, they've already been mentioned. That is, eat a plant-based diet, exercise, aerobics, sleep, stress management, and social activities. But the last that they've mentioned is challenging your brain. Now, how do you challenge your brain? So typically, what do we say? We say do cognitive exercises. What are cognitive exercises? We tell our patients, or even everybody, we say do Sudoku, do crossword puzzles, do this every day and keep your brain active. I have a take on this. If you're doing Sudoku for 5 years continuously and you're a master, but you do it faithfully every morning, your crossword and Sudoku, and say I'm exercising your brain, you're not exercising your brain. Your brain has got used to that activity. So when we say challenge your brain, you have to do something new every time, something different that you have not done. Therefore, having an array of hobbies. So you learn a language 1 year, next year you go and learn dance, third year you do music, fourth year you do photography. Don't let your brain get used to and habitual, make it habitual. So challenge your brain with new activities, fun activities, something that will set new networks to grow. So that is one strong suggestion through your lifetime with your children, make them do new things. The second concept very quickly is about resilience. Now, what is resilience? Resilience, in fact, is not about being tough on the exterior, that I'm a resilient person, I can face any adversity that comes in my life. We say that for resilience. But it's not about that external strength, it's inner strength. And this inner strength, sometimes you won't even see outside in a person. But this is a person who can handle his emotions and manage anything that's overwhelming in their life. And there have been some suggestions, that's the last bit I'll quickly walk you through, that we need to develop. So when we talk about building resilience, which we must, and now there is research to say that if you're a resilient person, even through injury, through trauma, for whatever cognitive health going down, you can overcome. So what do you have to do? First is build optimism. What is optimism? The sense in your head that you have that this too shall pass. You don't hold on to things and say, oh my God, now everything is collapsing. But the mindset that this too shall pass. Second is self-efficacy. Having that feeling, I will do it. I will come out of it. Third is future orientation, to say if there's light at the end of the tunnel, things will move. There is a future which will never always be bad. Fourth is the characteristic of acceptance, not going into victim role, believing that what you cannot change, accept it. So you cannot change some things, and the acceptance. Taking responsibility, not being a victim. Solution orientation, finding solution, action oriented, and not getting overwhelmed. And last but not the least, what everyone's saying, network orientation, what you said, turning to our families, which are very rich resources in India, to our friends, to our community, seeking actively support, nothing to be ashamed of. So if we build resilience and cognitive reserve, we are really protecting our brain and can do much more.
I think you simply explained, but it is not very easy to follow this. You have to be mentally very strong and also to follow the physically. So I think this is a challenge, but if you can do it, I'm sure you can keep your brain very, very healthy and everyday challenge. So that I think that's another very interesting point. Dr. Sodi, as we come down to you about the support system, how you think that your support system when many of these patients of same disorder with a similar disability meet together, how they together really work out a methodology to keep their brain healthy, and how in spite of all the disability they keep themselves going. So is there a benefit, or is there any program which has been planned out to keep them active and be involved into that?
Is that addressed to me?
Yeah.
Dr. Nirmal?
Yes, Mr. Sodi.
Okay. See, we at Stroke Support India always are.
We are not talking about support group. We are just talking about the support group. If you are all multiple people with the same disability together, how they overcome, keep their brain healthy.
See, with the limited experience that I have, one thing is social interactions. I think that plays a very vital role. And unfortunately, situations are that a person gets withdrawn, uh, depression, those kind of situations take over, particularly if someone has been working actively into a severe situations. So social interactions, I believe, can play a vital role. And there can be various means, technical means, for example, what we are having here now. They can be different means, and we do have them. They can be offline as well as online means. That is, I think, one let's say major activity that I can. Then of course it can go to different directions. What to do, once we interact. That is what I can say at this stage, as in our limited experience.
What I found is when we have this support group, people of same disorder come together, they feel very happy. And if they suppose they have a picnic, they say,
Absolutely.
today was the best day they went through there. So, keeping them happy is also one of the brain health things. I think this is very important. So, Damija sir, now we come back to you on the research and future direction. You already gave the, roadmap for the, national health program. So what are the, advances you think which will be promising for the brain health? Dr. Damija, are you there? I think we have lost him for some time. While he will come back to him, may I ask Apurva about, we discuss about the sleep being a very, very important part of the brain health. So how do you think that, how you rank sleep as a very important part of the brain health, and, sleep hygiene as discussed by Dr. Damija and mentioned, what do you recommend for the people that what sleep this will be?
Sleep of late has been recognized as a very important promoter of brain health. We know that brain has no lymphatics, but whatever toxins accumulate in the intercellular and interneuronal spaces in the brain, they are cleared out into the CSF through a lymphatic system, not lymphatic. And that clearance mainly occurs during sleep. And the modern societies overall are underslept. They are sleep deprived societies. As we were talking about stress and tension, and deprivation of sleep is a component of that stress, multitasking. So people may have variable need of physiological need of sleep from 6 hours to 7 hours to 8 hours. I do not know how much is the need for Nirmal Surya or Narendra Modi, but everybody needs 6 hours, 7 hours of sleep. And promotion of sleep hygiene, avoidance of dependence on hypnotics and sedatives through lifestyle management, promotion of good sleep will go a long way, particularly in prevention of cognitive impairment and also other neurological disorders. If there is a sleep deprivation, there would be reduced performance in the wakefulness hours because of micro sleeps during waking hours, hypersomnia during waking hours. So many complications are related to lack of sleep.
I think I would also add on to that there are so many sleep disorder, particularly sleep apnea, which are very common and easily being recognized. They should be, diagnosed and should be treated with appropriate measures. So I think sleep itself is important, and for those who have sleep disorder, they should be treated because they are quite common. Taral, we come back to you. And can you mention about how we can raise an awareness about the importance of brain health? You are champion in making the posters and all those things. Are there some new things which comes in your mind? I have one of them. I have some of them after a few minutes. I will come to that. But your thought on this
Absolutely.
awareness about brain health.
So awareness comes with involvement. So there are a lot of advertisements, social media. If you just bombard them, if till the time people don't get involved, they don't get aware. They will know, but they will not be aware. So there is a difference between knowledge and awareness. And that's why I feel any campaign or awareness drive must involve people. And the way to do it is, through involve through schools, like competitions which we have in poster competitions. It's one of the way of awareness. The social media drive. So where we had a sort of awareness about cerebral palsy, and Urvashi, we know that adapt. We asked one normal person to pose with a person with cerebral palsy and click a selfie. There, involvement comes and awareness comes. So I feel that there are many ways to generate awareness, from newspaper articles to television shows to social media. But finally, the awareness will come only when there is involvement of common people into a cause.
Thank you. Damija Sahab, you were, I think, stuck up. So I had a question for you is about the research and future direction. So what are the advances in neuroscience which is going to be promising for the brain health in coming few years?
I think when I trained in neurology 30 years ago, the neurology was totally different. And today's neurology is, there is a revolution, not only in technological advances, but also in terms of therapeutic modalities, what we have. So apart from diagnostic, it's not just the exercise of making a diagnosis of a neurological disorder and then saying कि अब तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. So we have a diagnosis, but no treatment. Now we have a treatment, we have diagnostic tools, we have prevention, and we have promotion of the brain health happening at the same time. So a screening of all individuals more than 50 years of age is something which can give us a very, very important direction for prevention of brain disorders. There are now apps, there are now technological advances which can give us data, not only your past medical history, but also in future, what is prediction of having a stroke in next 10 years, or a prediction of having a neurological disorder in terms of other than vascular in next 5 to 10 years. So all these riskometers and all these gadgets are there, and there is a lot of research happening in the treatment part also. So apart from healthy brains, there is an curative part also where we can offer the patients all kind of modern treatments which were not available 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Stroke is one example where we have now clot busting drugs to be administered in first 4.5 hours or even up to 24 hours. And of course, interventions in terms of cath lab or thrombectomies and all these mechanical treatment for removing the clots and making the recanalization possible within hours. So that is something very, very exciting. Similarly, in dementia also, now we have amyloid, not only amyloid imaging, but also amyloid, anti-amyloid treatment. So these next 10 years, I see neurology having a totally different landscape where we will have most of the diseases being treatable and preventable.
Thank you. I think research are going on, and the biggest change which is going to come is genetic disorder. So the genetic treatment, what is going to completely change into the management of those disorder, which has never seen the light, and we have been, just watching the people to die. The last point to you, Urvashi, before I close this is how a family is so important for the brain health. Can they adverse affect, or can they improve or really help each other? So how does it really work?
So I think the family is critical. So if you look from the time the child is born, and the family is actually the role model in which your psychological conditioning happens, of how you face adversity, how you face life. It is within the family context, how the family is, what are the activities that they do on a regular basis. Today we have children mimicking their parents who are also on social media with increased screen time. What are we telling the children? Not to get onto screens when their own parents are absorbed in that. So the role modeling that happens from the parents, how they introduce their children to nature, how they introduce their children to new activities, which are cognitively interesting, challenging, starting from the very, very early childhood that we're talking about enhancing brain health, then the kind of food that is served by the families, the kind of sleep patterns that are there as habits within the family. Actually, if you look at everything that we talk about promoting health, it starts with the family being that model. So children will learn from that modeling.
We
And
say that family tradition and family strong. So when we are looking for a bride or bridegroom, we look at the family and then
correct.
go to that. So I think that is a very important, and it can affect both way. Like nowadays,
Everything.
single
And you
parent,
can mold that child into wonderful cognitive health from
absolutely
the early childhood.
agree. So Hardeep, you want to say in one line something about how the support group can keep the brain health strong for the people suffering from any disease, not about just stroke.
Well, I would say most of the aspects have been covered by various panelists. All I can again come back to is I think exercise plays a major role. Um, we only look at the physical aspects, but to my mind, uh, I read somewhere, motion is emotion. You move, you keep so many things in control. So I would perhaps point that out as one factor. Whatever one can do, as much movement is possible. And there are, of course, various ways then to go about doing that. Yoga, of course, is the traditional Indian, and there are, you would be aware, there are, for example, yoga institutes as well as free yoga classes, etc., etc. So that is one thing that I would like to emphasize: exercise, and perhaps it impacts so many things, including perhaps your social activities as well. That's what I would talk about. Thank you.
Perfect. I think I will put up some of the, as Taral said, the poster competition, and I'll just try and put some of the competition what we have done in recently, and if I can, if you all can see the slides. So am my slide is visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Perfect. So we, as the IFNR, did the World Brain Day competition through the poster, and this was the announcement was there, and there are prizes, and we will be felicitating the winners on the 27th. So what we received 124 entries for the poster competition, which are not only from India but across the world. And due to the duplication and some delay, the 116 posters were finalized and sent to the two great judges who are the champion of the World Brain Day, Professor Tisa Vijayaratne, who is the co-chair of World Brain Day, and Dr. Chandrasekhar Meshram, who is trustee at World Federation of Neurology. And look at the multidisciplinary team who has participated in our IFNR poster. 42 therapists, 23 occupational therapists, 5 neurologists, 1 orthopedic surgeon, 19 psychologists, 18 speech therapists, 3 physiatrists, and 5 others. And the winners, the first consolation prize goes to Merlin Varghese. She is a BASLP student 2021 batch from Amrita Institute of Medical Science, and this is her poster on the brain health to create awareness on brain health and prevention. So that's what she has sent. The second winner for the consolation prizes, there were 5 consolation prizes, and second is Mayak P. Singh, who is a physiotherapy student, first year, and she's from Institute of Sancheti Orthopedic and Rehabilitation College from Pune, and this is what is her painting is all about, from the brain and music, the games, and yoga. So wonderfully describe about the brain health. How do you do that? And the third winner, according to the judges, was on the consolation prize is Preeti Bhutani. She's an occupational therapist. She's a private clinic from New Delhi, India. And this is the tree with multiple facets to keep the brain health happy. The fourth consolation prize goes to the Rashi Singhal. She is a master's in physiotherapy neurology from Sri Guru Gobind Singh Tricentenary University. And her is about the thoughts about the brain health and how does it variously can be looked into. And the fifth consolation prize goes to Harshita Singh. who's a master of physiotherapy from Jamia Hamdard University, New Delhi. And again, on the various aspects of prevention of the brain health. So these are the, ladies and gentlemen, 5 consolation prizes. They will be getting the heads free for their effort. We also had a viewer's choice. So what we did is we sent all the 124 posters to various channels, and the viewers were supposed to vote. So we received in 3 days 2,831 votes. People have seen, and the maximum number of votes who received for the award was 291. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was very interesting, and I really never thought that in 3 days' time there will be nearly 3,000 people would have seen and voted. How people have made their status that please vote for me, and it was very, very interesting that World Brain Day has shown this. And the winner is Dr. Rituja Malkade, who is MPT in neuroscience from Institute of Mimar Medical College, Talegaon, Dabad, Pune. And this is her world brain. It is okay not to be okay. And how the neuro rehabilitation. So this is the public choice award which goes to Rituja. And the 3 best prize. So the second runner-up for the poster award is Vaibhav Vikas Das, who is an occupational therapist working in private from Bhubaneswar in Odisha. And this is how he's watering the brain into various areas to improve the brain health. It's a wonderful concept. The runner-up for the competition is Nivedita Yogesh Mane, who is an occupational therapist from Goregaon, Mumbai. And she gave a concept of brain health cafe. You talked about brain health capital. We're talking of brain health cafe. And she made it from the how today, 90s and retro. I think it is very, very interesting concept. And judges very correctly consider this as the first runner-up or the runner-up. And the winner of the competition who received 5,000 rupees cash award is Dr. Saima Reddy's, who is an occupational therapist from Tata Memorial Hospital, Mumbai, on the brain health concept of watering plus various other activity through various health grouping together. So these are the posters which I received. I'm sure you must have got the link. You please go through them because none of them was, I felt that they all are so competitive that anybody could have won the winners. So with that, I thank you very much for being participant, and all the winners could come to the MET on Sunday during the neuromusic therapy session, and we will have that session to felicitate and give them the prizes. So they are welcome. So I would like really the chairperson, both Dr. Palande and Abhishek, to comment on final comment before we close this because we are right on the time. But Taral, as you said, do the poster competition, and here we are. We have already done that, and it has shown that how people can get involved, come out with newer concepts, and they also raises our own way of thinking. Thank you all for participating in that. Over to you, Abhishek.
Palande, sir. Palande, sir, are you there? I think we had a very lively discussion on brain health, the reasons why it is important, and what can be done, including all the 6 components of how we can improve brain health to prevent neurological disorders, and also focus on rehab along with that. I'd like to thank all our co-chair, Dr. Palande, our monitor, Dr. Surya, all the 5 panelists, Dr. Puranik, Dr. Shishad, Dhamija, Shadeep Sodi, Dr. Taral Nagda. And it was quite amazing to see the response to the poster competition and the brilliant posters we have seen. I think we should display them in the NMT course if possible If again, they can again go to vote it and get some more viewer choice award in this competition. Thank you very much. And I would like to invite.
Apurva want
all
to
of-
say something, so
Let-
can Apurva?
Yeah,
Yes.
please, please.
One brief comment that is about advocacy. We all stakeholders for brain health must train ourselves and must practice our skills of advocacy at government level, at society level, at media level for promotion of brain health. That was one concluding comment.
Thank you, sir. Let me invite all of you to our next initiative, which is the Neuro Musical Therapy course, which will be held at MET on this Saturday and Sunday. All of us who are in part of neurology and neuro rehab can get accredited to it. It's a simple course for certification for 2 days. So you can check it online on the IFNR website. You can join the program. It's an amazing program. Professor Michael Thought is coming from Canada and with his team to train all of us in a basic concept of using music for brain recovery. Also, remember, today we forgot music actually. Music is a good component
Exactly.
to improve brain health, also, not only rehab. So, join us an MET on this Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure being here.
Bye.